You are now entering a dangerous liberty zone where God-given natural rights are held sacred and exercised. This is your warning. Tyranny, fascism, and censorship will not be tolerated. Ideas will be exchanged freely. Rigorous debate and open discourse is encouraged. If you are weak and your beliefs are fragile, you should leave now. Prepare yourself. We are now live on the Dangerous Liberty Podcast. Are we live now?
Are
we good to go?
Can they see?
For realsies.
Are we?
For realsies.
Jesus Christ.
Can they see and hear us now?
All right, folks. Hey, happy Wednesday, everybody. Welcome to the Dangerous Liberty Podcast, where we know the only thing more dangerous than liberty is the lack thereof.
And apparently my computer skills.
And apparently your computer skills. What's going on? Let's see. We got Willie Everett. We got the MOA Mafia, McSpook over there. We got Jason Sponsor. We got Huff over there, Kyle Huff, Jason Ross. Who else we got? John Hopin. Hey, welcome everybody. Mike Henn, Matt G. Who else we got? Anybody else? All right, folks. Summer, how was your week?
It's good.
Yeah.
What? There's something that happened this week that was gonna.
Well, we had the off-road course, which I want to talk about in just a second.
That
I was
was-
gonna
that
I want
was
to hear. I
cool.
want to hear about that one.
that was awesome.
I bet.
Something else. I don't know. It'll come to me.
All right, sit there and think.
Partying too much, can't remember everything.
Chris,
What's going on?
apparently your week was great.
Oh, I started paternity leave Monday. Me and the wife been hanging out. It's
Got another baby on the way already?
so luckily I had a vasectomy, and yeah, I'm living the dream.
It's party
Sweet.
time for real now.
I don't go
Sweet.
back to work till January 16th.
Jeez, oh Pete.
I'm loving life.
Apparently our audio is repeating. I don't know what's going on with that. That's what we're hearing.
I don't, who's hearing?
Well, Jeff told me the audio was repeating on the feed. Anybody else getting that? Or maybe
It might just be him. 'Cause
might
he's
be
kinda
Jeff
coming
because
in.
he's on.
He might be watching it and having his live. Yeah.
Yeah. What else? Jason, how was your week?
Gary, you know what really grinds my gears?
Oh, geez.
Oh dear God,
When you think
I didn't know we were
it's
going to be role
Thursday,
playing.
When you think it's Thursday and it's really Wednesday. So,
Go on.
yeah, I'm still here.
That was it.
That was it. I
We
thought it was
opened-
Thursday this morning. I was so happy. I'm like, man,
We opened
Friday's
with-
coming up, mañana,
We start-
right? And no go.
We started our morning this morning with the Hump Day commercial.
Hump Day?
We had to educate the boys.
They didn't know.
No, they
No!
didn't. I had to show.
They were
I had to
like-
show them the
My
commercial.
God.
They thought we
You
were
guys had
so.
Mike, Mike.
They were like, our parents
What
are
day
so
is it, Mike?
stupid.
What day is it,
Mike?
Mike? What day is it, Mike?
We took them to breakfast this morning, and so
Oh, where'd you
don't
go?
Chick-fil-A.
Chick-fil-A.
Jesus is chicken.
That's right.
We were there when they opened
Better
the doors.
wash your mouth out with mouthwash for you eat Jesus chicken.
You're right, Spook.
Vito,
I am 10
how was your week?
baby?
They can't hear
Yeah, you got-
signs. Hand
You
signs.
can't
Hand
give the
signals.
thumbs up there. Yeah.
We got a hang 10 from Vito. It was good. Got some new toys this week. We won't talk about that, but you did get some new toys. Good. Yep. We had a great week, folks. We had our high performance off-road course this week. If you weren't there, you missed out. Me and Vito were videoing, and it was exciting just for us.
Chris, you could have really improved your redneck skills. I'm just saying.
You absolutely could have.
Some B. I probably wouldn't have done as well if I went because I would have been sober.
Oh, your skills are
Well,
better when you're.
Yeah, well, I want to
You
try
know,
new things when I'm not sober, and then we rescue each
I actually
other.
kind of brought you up at the course a little bit. I was like,
He did. He mentioned you.
I was like, my buddy Chris. He was like, oh, it just looks like something that rednecks do on the weekend. But the reality is,
I mean,
you're kind of not wrong.
right.
But what I will say is that's definitely underestimating the amount of technical portions of that. Yeah, you can get out there in the mud and you can get stuck and you can figure it out. But really understanding the technical portions of using that truck to its absolute maximum capability.
No, absolutely.
And I will tell you, I learned a lot. I've been to off-road courses prior to this in the military. and we did a lot of recovery in Iraq and Afghanistan and practiced those things. But some of the things I had forgotten, so it was a good brush up on different recovery methods. So
Well,
it was a lot of fun.
I think the biggest thing that you all probably worked on is usually for us rednecks, we have no idea what the capability is until it gets in there. Then we go, well, shit.
Well,
Or you break something trying to get it out.
Yeah, and then it costs money and it's
well,
in
the
your
other
garage
thing
for
too
6
is
months.
one benefit, and I actually told one of our students, I was like, "Look, you got to stop caring about the truck.
Yeah.
You are being too timid." Because I remember one
Oh, I
time as a
wouldn't care about
private,
the truck.
I got stuck in a Humvee one time, and it was because I was worried and I was brand new. I mean, I was literally a private. It was like our first field operation, and then I was like, and the people were giving me shit about it.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, oh, hell no, I'm never getting stuck again. And I will redneck a Humvee, an RG33 out of stuff. Like literally when our teammates would get stuck, they'd be like, Gary, get up here. And I would get it out of that, whatever we were in, I would
you
get
just
it out.
didn't care
'Cause
because it
I'd be
wasn't
like,
yours.
Just grinding gears
Say it's
back
not
and
yours.
forth. I'd freaking, I'd get that thing out, no problem. Because I didn't care. It wasn't mine.
That's where you got to get to in the redneck world. You just don't care.
Yeah, well, it's usually because
You're drunk.
Well, and you want to get, and you don't want to walk home.
you know, it sucks to walk when you're drunk.
Especially when you sink your side to side in a creek.
When your
and you have
side by
to,
side becomes a submarine.
yeah, you have to walk home up a mountain.
Folks, we
And
do
tell your
not in
wife.
any way condone operating any sort
No.
of
No.
powered vehicles under the influence.
Nope.
Let's just get that straight right now.
No, I got to take this hat off. I can't wear my headphones.
That's ridiculous.
So,
Well,
wait,
folks,
maybe we should read the hat just so everybody knows.
Well, I
what
wore it because of Gary. It was his credo on it. That's the only reason I bought it.
We'll read Gary's credo.
No, Gary needs to read his
well,
credo.
he needs to just show it in the. Somebody activate
People-
his camera.
Some people can't read.
There we go.
There, you can read it, Gary.
Women fear me. Fish fear me. Men turn their eyes away from us as
From
I
me.
walk. No beast. Let me see. I can't.
No
it's
beast
so
dare
small.
make a sound in my
No
presence.
beast dare make a sound in my presence. I am alone on this barren earth. I feel that every single day.
I mean, I get it. That's why I wore it.
It's tough being you, huh?
You should pull that down and cut eye holes off to the side.
I don't know. I think people might get
I
the wrong
don't think
thing.
people will react kindly to that.
I don't think. I think I sent the wrong message.
I think people did that at one time.
I think they might still do it,
that
JC.
might, that might
What?
not
I'm
be
just
good.
here to make a deposit. All right, folks, we got a great show for you today. A really good friend of ours that I'm excited about. I actually finally get to meet Jeff at the end of this month, so I'm pretty stoked about that. We had him on not too long ago. If you didn't catch that episode, you need to. Again, I'm going to go ahead and bring Jeff in here. I want to have Jeff introduce himself for those that haven't met him before and didn't see the last one, and for everybody that's going to see this in the future. Jeff, take it away.
Solid beard.
Solid beer.
Solid beard.
All right. Not a whole lot to say. We talked about it last time a little bit. Quick overview. I spent almost 28 years in the military, almost all of it active duty. Time in 5th Special Forces Group, 10th Special Forces Group, and I did a stint over in the 160th flying for a little bit. Not at the company level, but up at the training level and working with all the new Green Platoon students coming in and aviators and whatnot. Retired in 2011, worked some jobs around the country as a GS civilian, did some contract work in Haiti, did some contract work overseas. And then me and my wife, Sherry, decided that we would move back to the Florida Panhandle and start a little farm, try to be more self-sufficient, try to get a little more off-grid, not be as reliable under the government. And all that they control. So now we raise pigs, goats, cattle, chickens. We got about a 25-acre little farm, and we try to support the local area with what we produce and whatnot, friends, family, and whatnot. Unfortunately, both the state and federal level will prohibit you from selling any kind of meat, eggs, everything else without getting federal approval. So we do a lot of stuff between family members and friends and whatnot, and don't really promote a lot of it out to the the rest of the community, unfortunately, because somebody will show up at your door and want to inspect your farm and seize all your assets and everything else. So
It's unbelievable. It's
in a
absolutely
nutshell.
unbelievable. First, I also want to say that I'm really glad I finally got to see your wife just a few minutes ago on camera. Maybe we'll get her. Maybe we'll get her in on the next
Walk
one.
by a
too.
minute ago.
Welcome. I see you in the comments too. But yeah, we got to get her on camera too to see the woman behind the man. What were you gonna
She's
say,
the
baby?
I
killer.
was just going to say, when it comes to federal regulation or approval of selling, do they count bartering? Could you barter with someone that's outside of your circle of people?
So yes, we do a lot of bartering where, I'll give you some pork, let's say meat, and in return you'll help give me the use of a skid steer, or bring me some dirt, or pour a concrete slab or something like that. Bartering's okay. It's just when you start advertising that you're selling meat, and if it's not USDA approved and hasn't been processed by a USDA plant, then they step
Right.
in and shut you down. If you're trying to sell eggs in the state of Florida and you don't have a permit and they haven't inspected your egg washing station and the fact, do you refrigerate them? And when you do that, you just open up to allowing the government to come in and inspect your entire farm.
Yep.
So yeah, they could come in to inspect our egg washer and say, hey, we don't like the way you're raising your pigs or your cows or whatnot. And next thing you know, they're rolling up with trailers and hauling all your livestock off and seizing your assets. So.
Yep.
Yep. We live in a crazy time for sure.
It is.
Alaska Andy, welcome. Risa, I think she's a friend of you guys. Is Risa McGordon?
That would be
last
my
name as
sister-in-law.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go. Tony McCausland, good to see you guys. Awesome. Jeff, we got a lot to talk about. We talked about a lot before we even got on here. There's a lot going on in the world, a lot of political unrest. I want to continue to beat this drum. And one of the big, it wasn't a huge step, but one of the things that we did since our last thing was we made sure that we had atlases in our cars and an extra one in the house.
We did.
I started thinking about that, man. It's like you don't even, if your cell phone goes out and you really need to get out of somewhere, obviously you want to avoid the highways, but nobody even has paper maps anymore.
No, I'm gonna get on Amazon
It's
right
so funny.
now.
I remember when we were first dating and married and all that, riding around in our little sedan, and we always had an atlas because that was before smartphones. We used the atlas all the time. It literally fell apart. That's why I got rid of it.
It wasn't
But-
before. What was that? What was that thing you used to Google the routes on?
MapQuest.
MapQuest. Yeah, MapQuest.
No, that was fancy. If you knew where you were
that was
going and you
fancy,
printed out the
MapQuest,
route.
yeah.
Yeah. No, I mean like
So-
actual.
So you'll get like something like that.
Any rest area in any state
Okay.
will give
That's
you a
not a
free
bad
map.
price.
Right.
Anytime
yeah,
you pass through a state,
Make sure
pull
you
into
get
the
road
rest
atlas.
area, they'll give you a free map of that state, paper map, stick it in a box, keep going. And then when you get home, ours are alphabetically in order, but you just slide them all in there and then you have a map wherever you need to go.
Yep. You don't keep them in your car in case you need to.
I do. So Sherry works in Montgomery, Alabama from time to time. So in her get home bag, there's a paper map of Florida and Alabama that she can fold out and look at and figure out where she's at and where she needs to go to get home. And then a route on there. So I know which way she's coming from and which way I need to be going to figure out, where's the best place to meet up and whatnot. But yeah, paper maps. Atlases are great because it has the whole country. Some of the state maps get a little bit smaller, so you can see more of the, you're not going to see fire breaks or anything, but you'll see some of the dirt roads and some of the other stuff on them.
Speaking of those get home bags, what we should bring up one day, Gary, is a 5-point contingency plan.
Yeah. No,
we need to talk about that one day on here.
That's not.
I believe I did a YouTube video on a contingency planning, and I think we need absolutely we need to do that. I think that would be a better of a long form video as necessarily a podcast, but I absolutely agree. And I did touch on that on videos in the past, but that is something that we need to do. And when I was doing that, the other thing that I realized is we need to kind of reformat that or for civilians. So that it's not so militaristic and it's more applicable for civilians. But absolutely, I think that is something we definitely need to do. But and that's what Jason was just saying. He doesn't want to be contained by a atlas or even a state map. He's a world traveler, so he keeps a globe in his car.
Keeps it in his bug out
I
bag.
don't need an atlas.
That's also,
I got a globe.
He's just rubbing it, finding where the biggest mountain
Exactly.
is. Like, oh, there it is.
exactly.
We're going here. I feel this biggest bump.
When I get pulled over, I also put it under my shirt and say, "Officer, I'm pregnant. I'm trying to get to the hospital."
I mean,
Now you made it weird.
Man,
it
that
could
Tesla's
be.
getting awfully full.
right?
Keep some extra double A's in there, Casey.
Don't
Oh,
worry, Jay. You
well,
can go into my,
you hear,
with the
Jason.
Hey, I brought my truck tonight, so I'm I'm not very eco-friendly right now.
Oh,
So
you
can I
left it running.
charge my Tesla at your house when I come down for the long range course? Because Sherry thought it would be funny to rent me a Tesla.
I think it would be
Oh.
hilarious, and you absolutely
I
can.
didn't think it was funny at all, but Sherry thought it'd be funny to rent a Tesla and send me out in the middle of nowhere with it and no charge.
You probably have fun in it, to be honest. Jay's Tesla is
They-
a blast.
They are ridiculously fast.
yeah.
That's
They
what I
can do
heard.
some sweet jumps too.
Oh my God. It's the landing.
Rental
The bad
car-
part
The,
from what
the
Jay
landing,
said.
it doesn't land well, but
No,
you
they're
know,
really
it,
heavy on the bottom.
Jason
he
can
says.
tell you from personal
It
experience.
flies very well, very flat.
How-
It glides.
How long
It's a-
was
you know,
was
I
your
compare
Tesla
it
in the
to
shop?
like a 6.5 Creedmoor. It's a flat trajectory.
And then it just drops out of the sky.
yeah.
How long was your Tesla in the shop after that?
I mean, who's counting?
Yeah,
Why
I
are you
mean,
bringing up
months.
old
They
stuff,
had, they
Gary?
had to build new parts for it.
Yeah.
I mean,
what
when it lands in his driveway, I came and put it on the screen. It was like this, and the doors won't open and stuff. So I mean,
And they were like, "What is this
How did
globe
the
in here?"
doors wouldn't open?
I mean,
what is this globe doing?
There's a globe in here. This guy is prepared.
This guy's red.
He was trying to
He
fly
must be
around
a-
the world in his
he
Tesla.
must
You can
be
see
an
on
operator.
on Nepal, it was all rubbed off. He keeps hitting that big mountain there.
I believe it's pronounced nipple.
Hey, whatever floats your boat, Jay. Go get your draw.
So you and I were talking a
Khakis.
little bit, bringing it back to the rail, onto the rails a little bit. We were talking a little bit about that national emergency test that we did today.
Hope everybody got the message.
I hope
Yeah,
everybody.
so-
You
I
know,
came
I
from my
saw.
phone.
Well, I'm sorry, I'm interrupting. I saw a very interesting post yesterday reminding people that may have secret phones to turn them off.
Did you see why though? The
Yeah,
reason-
like domestic abuse
yeah.
victims.
They
and
got
that
their
kind of
they got
thing.
their burner phones.
Right.
Yeah, because there's
Domestic
so many of
abuse.
those.
Yeah.
What,
I would-
domestic
I-
abuse
I-
victims?
I would say the more
I'm
the
saying,
cheaters are.
like,
That's
That
how I was
are
gonna go
able
with
to have-
yeah. More cheater
I'm just,
phones.
I'm just saying that's the
What is
PC,
going off in the bedroom, honey?
PC.
It wasn't like put out by the government or anything.
Drug
it was
phones.
just a,
I know that.
Drug
It was-
phones,
Oh, man,
cheater
you know what that
phones.
just made me think of? I wonder how many phones went off in like a prison. Like in
Oh
the,
man, they had to see
box,
it
like,
and kill
oh,
them,
no.
or at like basic or police academy and all that. They were hiding them.
They did
Like-
all contraband just going
Why
on. They
are-
didn't know that was.
Why
gonna
are you
happen.
ringing?
Yeah, like what do you mean, sir?
Yeah. Your
Just going,
butthole is ringing, sir. We're gonna need
Your
to.
butthole was ringing.
Get the prison wallet going.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Sir, we need you to squat and cough right now, immediately.
We're obviously in a very jovial mood tonight because we
Well, I'm
haven't stopped
curious.
laughing since we got
That's a
on.
word I don't
I'm
know.
having a
For
great
everybody watching, where were you when your phone went off? You know, were you in Walmart?
don't
Were
wanna-
you?
I
I
don't
mean,
wanna
me and
say.
Gary talked earlier, and Gary said he was at the shop, and Summer was on her way to pick up the kids, and so
Yep.
if it had been a real emergency, if it was a real presidential alert, if there was a real threat, where's your family at? What's your plan? Did you just stand there like everybody else in Walmart and go, "What the fuck is this?"
Well, what's
'Cause-
interesting is our 13-year-old brought it up as soon as he got in the car. He's like, "Oh, the alert went off," and everybody, because he's not allowed to. He doesn't have a cell phone. He's not allowed to have a cell phone, but a lot of his peers at school do. He's like, everybody's phones went off at the same time in the school. It was crazy. He was like, and then it was like 30 minutes later, one kid's cell phone went off. He's like, if that was real emergency, that kid would be dead. And I was like, well, what would happen?
That was T-Mobile.
Yeah.
And he was like, well, what would even happen if it was real and we were at school? I was like, well, there would be chaos. There'd be parents running up there to try to get their kids.
Oh,
There'd
yeah.
be kids everywhere. Like, you guys wouldn't be safe at all. He's like, yeah, we'd all be walking outside the school and dead. He's very graphic. But,
I would just
you know,
text.
even in his 13-year-old mind, he's like, well, what if that was real? What would we do? You know?
And exactly what would people do? I mean, everybody's going to make a mad day. So I remember Sherry telling me the story when 9/11 happened. Of course, I was at Bragg when 9/11 happened, and
Oh, me too.
Bragg was locked down, and for the most part, and we were in I think we were in the A side course or something, but we were called in and said, hey, that's it. Course is done. Graduating earlier. Everybody head back to your units and whatnot. But it happened in a matter of, a couple hours. Course ended. I was headed back to Campbell. Everybody else was headed back to their units. But Sherry was at Carson, I think, at the time stationed, and she had just dropped my stepson, her son Wyatt, off at daycare, and had left Carson when it happened and tried to turn around and go back to daycare and pick him up, and they locked the gates down. Like, you can't come in, can't get your kids, can't tell you what's going on, can't tell you, what the threat is. You're just stuck outside in a line of traffic with 500 other people trying to get their kids. So when something like this happens, this is a great drill or exercise to say, hey, am I ready? What would I have done when it happened today? Because most people didn't know it was going to happen. Most of the people I've talked to said, I had no idea. I didn't know it was going to happen. And the media really didn't put a whole lot of it out. They've been talking about the Speaker of the House and all this other crap. But for the most part, only those people that are kind of, out there that follow the preparedness world or whatnot, a lot of people don't know that today at not the exact same time, but on the exact same day, Russia did a nationwide emergency alert for their entire country. And yesterday, Russia did a simulated nuclear attack where they rushed all their people into bunkers, which a lot of people don't know. And if you Google it, you won't find anything about it. If you look up the news, nobody's talking about it. They're talking about how Nancy Pelosi got evicted from her office, some crap that doesn't matter to anybody. Yeah. But, yesterday, 150 million Russians were pretending that they were under a nuclear attack and looking for bunkers and getting inside and everything else.
Yeah, we definitely have no national push at all. As a matter of fact, it's just the opposite. We see, companies that are promoting any sort of preparedness are getting just censored left and right. Our government sure doesn't want that. If you're prepared, then you're independent, and our government does not want independence for anybody.
I agree with that assessment, but I also think it's twofold, because I think the general population, 90% of people, maybe that's a little over, but are just completely apathetic.
No,
They're just
I think 90% is probably a low number.
Even if the information was put out in a organized or even, put out more readily available, or, pushed more, for lack of a better word, I think most people are like, oh, nothing's going to happen. It's not gonna,
Well,
this is
you might
easy
look
to
at
ignore.
hurricanes in that way, right? There's plenty of times that hurricanes are, they say, hey, get out of Florida, right, and go somewhere else, and people are like, nah, right, and then it really happens. I'll be all right.
Well, it's normalcy bias, but I also do think that there has been a strategic push on this, and I really do. The government has stifled any message of, hey, you should be more prepared, you should be more self-reliant.
No, that doesn't work for them.
which may feed into the apathy.
It does, and that was my point, is that's been going on for 20, 30 years.
Yeah.
And not only do they not push any of that, but they also specifically target people that and turn them into crazy people, right? It's like, you're nuts, you're crazy.
That's the point. And
yep.
And the other day, I think it was MSNBC or CNN or someone, they took just one post on Twitter or whatnot, I don't remember who it was, where they're like, somebody posted, hey, this emergency alert is going to activate nanos that are in the injection and kill everybody that's got their phone on. And that's what MSNBC ran with. Tinfoil hat wearing crazies think that emergency alert is going to kill everybody and turn them into zombies. Which is, nobody believes that. I mean, maybe some do, but no sane person believes that.
There's some.
But it was easy to downplay it as it's no big deal. People just swipe it, alert, yeah, no big deal, whatever.
Their point was to say, if you take this seriously or put any effort into, preparing yourself, then you're one of those crazy people that believes that a nano chip's going to explode and kill you.
Absolutely. Or if you're the one saying, I'm sorry, U.S. government, Russia has 16,000 bunkers for their citizens. How many bunkers do we have in the United States for our citizens? Oh, we have 0. None. Not a single one. We have one in Seattle that was built in 1960. But the rest of them, we have plenty of bunkers for continuing
folks.
government.
For government folks, I said we can run down to Greenbrier.
Yep.
At NORAD and everything else. And, we can protect our government and our military assets, but we've got nothing for the civilian populace. And if you think you need it, then you're a crazy tinfoil hat wearing person.
Right.
Well, and what's the point of a national alert? Is like
That's
Well,
what,
then
I, that's what I wanted to ask you.
At the
What's
end of the
point?
day, what are they going to say? Like shelter in place, kiss your ass goodbye.
Get
we're
under your
we're under a
desk.
nuclear threat.
Get under your desk.
You're-
Your dining room table.
You're,
Could
you're
you just
30
imagine
seconds. You're 30 seconds away from becoming nuclear dust. Like
Pretty much. Yeah.
Godspeed.
So
yeah,
it takes 30 minutes
That's what it
to
says.
launch,
Godspeed. Dot.
Yeah.
like
Nuclear tech. Godspeed.
30 minutes to launch. We're going to put a tone out for a minute. We're going to talk to you for 5 minutes and tell you not to worry. At the end of that 5 minutes, we're going to say shelter in place. And then 15 minutes later,
You're going to die.
you're dust.
So you're saying
Oh,
I need to
sorry.
dig a hole and put a sea
we
container
definitely
in the ground?
we definitely need to get we need more than that. But and that I'll tell you, I think about that all the time. I'm like, we are way too close to Washington D.C.
Yes.
DC.
No,
I actually looked
we
you
are
guys
not.
up
We
today.
are not.
We're
If-
outside the blast zone.
We
for
are
sure.
outside.
Yes, we
no,
are.
we're
Yes, we are.
no, we're
Yeah, you
not. No, we're the
Yes,
For
we
fallout.
nuclear fallout?
Yes, we
For
are.
no, we're not.
So
I
I
looked this
looked
up.
you guys
No,
in
you
today
have listen.
because I was
I'm telling you
curious
right
about
now.
this.
Oh, hold
I
on,
looked
hold
you
on,
guys in
Jeff.
Wait,
today.
let him
Largest,
finish.
if the largest nuclear bomb was dropped on Washington D.C.,
He's right. He's speaking truth.
we are on the line of the nuclear fallout. We
Correct.
are just past it.
Go ahead,
You're
Jeff.
correct, Jason. And the largest bomb that the Russians currently have, or they haven't tested it, but the largest ones they claim to have is 100,000 kiloton bomb. And if it was dropped directly on Washington, D.C., then you guys are outside the fallout range of,
Yes.
I mean, you're like the 1% range.
Hold on though, and this is my point. They're not going to drop it directly on Washington D.C. Do you know how many federal agencies and other things and
Oh, yeah.
derivatives of the U.S.
Yeah.
Well,
government?
they ain't dropping it on
Hold on.
Jaredstown, West Virginia.
Well,
Hold on,
listen,
hold on, hold on. We have mountain weather right over here. They're going to drop it in a nuclear,
gonna
a
drop it
strategic.
west.
It doesn't take
Yeah.
a genius to
shit
say,
at mountain
okay,
weather.
here is the nuclear blast. How can I
Let's
cover?
shift it.
But how can I cover the most amount of ground?
Yeah,
If you think they're going to
exactly.
drop it directly on the White House, well, that'd be silly because most of it would be off into areas that most of the nuclear blasts would have the
Be
direct
in the
effect.
ocean.
It would ruin the
They're gonna
Chesapeake
want.
Bay.
They're going to want to make sure they hit Washington D.C., parts of West Virginia, parts of Maryland, where we have tons and tons of different military and or government assets. I mean,
Nah, we'll be all right.
Absolutely. So I
Listen,
encourage
I'm always wanting to move
everybody-
south, so let's move.
Everybody go on and look. There's a site called Potential Nuclear Targets within the United States. You can put it in, it'll pull up a map. It'll say on a 500 nuke launch, these are the these are the first 500. On a 2,000 nuke launch, these are the 2,000s and whatnot. And it'll show you every projected target up to 2,000 missile launch. And then there's another one called Nuke Map, and it's on nuclearsecrecy.com, I think is the website. But you can go in there and you can put your exact location. You can select the kiloton warhead.
Yeah.
You can say ground burst or air burst, and it will show you a ring based on where you put it of where that fallout is from the initial fallout that's going to vaporize you to the next one that's going to turn, melt your skin off you, to the next one that's going to cause third-degree burns, and then finally the one that's going to blow out your windows and knock you on the ground or whatnot. But it'll show you
And give you
based
cancer
on
10
where
years
you
later.
set that,
Or cure it.
There'll be a lawyer for that.
what range you're in, so you can plan accordingly. Because exactly, I mean, I wouldn't, if I was in Washington D.C. I lived in Washington D.C. for a couple of years. I can't imagine being there when something really, really bad happens. I mean,
Yeah.
even a ice storm or a flood or a hurricane or anything, because people are always crazy there.
Yep.
But there's a lot of tools out there to look at and see, hey, how's this going to affect me? How's it not going to affect me? Am I in the blast ring? Am I not? I mean,
Yeah, we are outside now. Not by much.
No.
Not
You're
by
you're right,
much.
Jay. We are still in the semi. You going to grow a third eye zone, but we're not. We're
I
going
You're in
knew
the
we were
fallout
zone.
section.
we're in the grow a
No,
third
no,
eye,
no.
but we're going to make.
We are in the fallout zone.
We're going to make it
Yeah.
past it though. It's where
But
the
you'll
livable
have
area.
3 weeks inside your house. You'll be good. You stay
Yeah,
inside
like,
for 3
like
weeks.
we're all going to end up with like red hair and
We're
stuff
like,
like that.
We're
if
far
We
enough-
would get crop dusted by it. You know, you're just like, it's a little bit, but then
it's a
you
little bit.
But you can still walk through it and be
Right.
like, okay, I'm all right. You weren't like right there.
We are just far enough to wish that we were in the blast. That's how far we are. You're out of your mind.
Nah,
Yeah.
detonate.
You may
Radiation
have
cures
to
cancer.
scrape the top 12 inches of topsoil off before you plant any crops later, but you'll be okay. Stay inside for 3 weeks. Drink bathtub water.
Oh,
eat
yeah,
that
I'm fine with
ramen.
We're on well over
First
here. We'll
of
be
all,
all right.
Who doesn't drink bathtub water?
Because you know the
Where's
government's
the cricket?
stealing
Where's the
your
cricket?
Where's the cricket?
Jesus.
So that's why my kids
God.
keep leaving the water in the bathtub when they get out. They're
right.
trying to be
It's all
Your
prepared.
kids are
They're trying to be
prepping.
prepared.
They're preppers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Again, if I was them, I'd be dropping it right on Leesburg, which would definitely put us within
Well, let's not
a
tell
blast.
them where to drop it.
Well, they already know. You
I
think,
know.
you
I'm
think-
just kidding.
you think-
Oh,
How far is
I
Leesburg?
put the warhead on
if you were
Jaredstown.
them,
We're out at that point.
If you were them, you're trying to kill yourself right now. That's why you're like, oh, where can I move this thing where we're directly in the path?
No.
Hey,
Hey,
Chris,
when you go to that
I'm just
website,
telling
just
you.
don't type in your city to drop it on because you're definitely in the blast zone.
and to pretend
Chris.
there's only going to be one near and
They're
around
going to hit
Washington,
several
D.C.
major cities at the
Yeah.
same time.
Well,
Yeah.
even Washington, D.C.
Washington,
Hey, Chris,
D.C.
are you
there's
hitting
a-
the
Gary.
There's a 50 square mile where the real assets are is like a 50 square mile radius around Washington, D.C. And that's where they're going to make sure that those are targeted as well.
Which we're good then.
Yeah, we're fine. We're on the backside of the mountain.
Okay. Okay.
We in the
Well,
cut.
and-
You believe
what's the
that?
predominant wind? East. It should be east for you guys, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
it
it's
should be
east.
blowing away from us. So tech
You
carries
should
it
be
all
good.
that back the other way.
Yeah.
Blow it into the
I'll
Chesapeake
be like,
Bay.
there's, you see
There's
that?
some wild crabs
you
with
see
like a
that-
claw coming out of the
You
center
see
of
that
their head.
nuclear shadow? That was Chris. And he said he'd be okay.
No, I'll be in my bee suit. I'll be in my bee suit. I'll be fine.
All I see is a shadow like that. See, find a piece
be
of
a-
paper.
that'll be
Gary,
a-
you were right.
Will the stack
You're
of Kim
Gary.
suits I have over there help?
What's that?
Will the stack of Kim suits I have over there help?
I'll wear one.
I don't think you'd have one for me that says medium fat.
I think they're all XL, so I
I
think it'd be
might be able to
good.
squeeze into that. I got my mama's
Probably
size.
just stay
though.
inside
Oh, no,
for a
the
few
zipper
weeks.
broke.
Jay, get in here with you.
Oh
We'll
my god.
sandwich together. Maybe it'll work.
Man, it'll work.
What
We'll
is
go.
wrong?
We'll go face to face.
Yeah, face to face. Hold on tight, buddy.
Jay's Kim suit looks like a beach ball. Shaped like
At least he's got his globe in there with him.
just got four little pinches sticking
It looks
out.
like that girl from Willy Wonka.
Wonka? Willy Wonka.
Yeah.
Off the rails again. I'm
You
ready.
got-
I'm
you
ready.
guys are completely off the rails.
I'll tell you,
tonight.
I've been on vacation. I'm having a great time.
Jesus.
Good for you. Must be so nice to
I
work for the
know.
government.
It must be so nice
Hey,
to have vacation.
You know what? You did it one time, Gary.
I know.
He never got leave like that, though.
He never told you got leave like that.
No, I think she would know. she would have known. Yeah.
So I'm curious,
so-
how many people watching could spend, I don't know, the next 3 days in their house unable to move? I mean,
We could.
do you have enough water? Do you have enough food? You know, do you have enough meds if you're on meds and you take meds? Enough
do that on
fuel?
the reg.
Another pro of being healthy and taking care of yourself. You don't have all these needs. Just saying.
Yeah, just imagine someone in the house with someone who's bipolar and the meds run out. Holy shit!
Jesus.
You're not wrong. I'm already have prepared my emergency plan is I'm going to eat my children.
Oh, I mean, that works. I wouldn't want to be in Jay's house when he runs out of ground beef and rice. No, moreover, I wouldn't want to be in there when he runs out of salt.
That's a fair point.
So the E in Gary's PACE plan is eat the kids.
Eat
Yes.
the kids.
Eat the kids.
Good job.
Not a bad idea.
His theory is you can make more.
You can make more.
I don't know
true.
about that.
I don't know.
We
I
gotta
gotta
wait a couple
That's
months.
a constant.
tell
You
you,
gotta
I'll-
spread that out over 9 months, right?
I'll tell you,
You got to ration the
eggs,
child.
the eggs in our house are more regulated than the government regulates eggs. I can't get near the eggs.
It's probably for good measure.
Yeah.
I'm gonna need to check out that egg wash plant.
You're so retarded.
Now we needed the freaking
Oh God.
Wah, wah, wah.
blast.
You get near the eggs, you just can't fertilize them. I'm just saying.
What is
It
happening?
went way
Go to
south.
commercial.
Yeah. And now we're from our sponsor, Geico.
Guess what
No,
day
we
it
give
is?
our sponsors Fat Boy where their legs don't cross.
We're already all
They're
off
thick and
the.
grippy and their legs don't cross.
We're already all off
We
the
get
rails.
lots of
Might as well
eggs
go
on the farm that aren't fertilized.
Oh
Exactly.
my God, they eat just as fine.
there. Yep.
Usually
they
they don't have a beak
good.
in them. At least that's nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What country is that where they eat the eggs?
Philippines.
Yeah.
That are almost,
Balut.
Yeah, the
almost
blue.
fully-
Yeah.
Balut.
Oh, that stuff is horrible looking.
I
watch-
heard it tastes really good though.
No, this is not possible.
Well, I'll tell you, kids will walk around. They crack the egg open. You can
Yeah.
literally see the chick.
Yeah.
It's a fully formed chick.
With like hair and everything.
Yeah.
And they
hair.
just eat all of it.
And then they'll suck
yeah.
on it. Oh, it's gross.
Yeah, no.
It's
Yep.
gross.
Do they eat the beak?
They
Eat
eat
the whole thing?
everything.
Yeah, you can
whole
crunch.
thing.
You can
Everything
crunch, you can
except for
crunch
the
the
shell.
beak up. It's a young
It's like a soft shell crab beak.
it's a young shit.
I'd rather eat the eggshell than eat that.
Well, they don't
Yeah,
eat the
same.
eggshell. Now you're going a step too
It's
far.
full of calcium.
So is their beak. It's delicious.
So they're little
Yeah,
baby
you know,
bones.
the real question is, and this is definitely an area. I mean, I have a generator and things like that, but this is one thing that I keep saying I'm going to do, and I am going to do, is make sure that we get a manual pump
On the well.
on our well, because that is
That needs to be a priority.
our major shortcoming
How
here.
deep is your well?
How deep is your well?
297.
Likely story.
I don't
Mine's
know.
304.
You can
I
look.
got it.
Not the area code, Gary.
I just made sure. I was like, however
well's
deep
deeper
Chris's
than
well
yours.
is, I want it.
Around about
I
the
want
same.
like 6 feet deeper.
I think it's in the closing paperwork or the
It
disclosures.
is.
should
We have
be.
it. Yeah, we
Yeah.
have it. We've looked at it before. I just don't remember off the top of my head because I'm not.
That or buy a cistern as well. We got a 1,000-gallon cistern that sits on the side of the house that catches rainwater.
That's not
So-
a bad idea either.
You know, it's
Yeah,
all
I thought about
when
putting
it
like
fills
rain
up.
barrels and stuff in too at all the gutters.
What do you have, Jeff? Do you just have one of those plastic tanks with like the aluminum cage around it?
It's a huge plastic tank. It's about 1,000 gallons. It sits right next to the house. All
Just like you
plastic.
buy Tractor Supply, one of those.
Yeah,
kind?
yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's actually not a bad idea. Just even catch rainwater off that, and then you can always filter it coming out of it or whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah, we tied it right into the gutter system on the house.
Right.
So it
Yeah.
runs straight into it. And then we just add bleach to it if we're going to drink it. Otherwise, we feed it to livestock, water the garden with.
Yeah, no, that's an
Whatever we
amazing
need to
idea,
do.
especially that large of a tank. I mean, yeah, you're going to spend some money up front getting that tank, but in the long run, or if something would happen, or you're not, I don't know if you're on well or not, but like for
Yeah.
livestock, garden, whatever, I mean, that's going to pay its weight in gold, down the line.
You know, it'd be
100%.
nice if you had to where you were running your well to a cistern that stayed at 1,000 gallons. And you kept that water flowing, but then it would automatically refill.
You could set that up.
Yeah, I know you could.
Ooh, absolutely.
Otter puts on Rumble. The well depth is inside the well cap.
It should be. It's not all the time up here in West Virginia.
Depends on who drilled
Yeah,
it.
my,
Who cares
mine's
about
not on mine.
codes?
Mine's
Yeah.
about 350 feet. And I only know that because I had to replace a pump for about
flew it by hand.
$5,000. And we had to pull all the pipe out and put everything back down in. So that's the only reason I know mine.
Yeah, luckily Dad's is 97 feet, and we've replaced it 3 times.
Why?
Because on a shallower pump, you're going to have muddier water. So the muddy water clogs up the screens on the well pump and stuff,
filters,
and
yeah.
it just
Why?
97 feet. It's not
Why is
bad.
it only 97?
That's
feet?
where they hit. That's where they hit enough flow of water that they didn't feel the need to go any deeper. And now over the years, since he's lived there since 1980, it's gotten muddier. You know what I mean? In that whatever underground lake or underground waterway, and like it was so muddy when we pulled it the last time we pulled the well line. I guess I'd say the 1-inch poly line from the well to the house, and it actually cholesteroled. You know, you would think on a regular line coming, it would just sediment would lay in the bottom, but it actually was like cholesterol in an artery.
We had
to
the
where
same issue me growing up in Georgia.
where
Yeah.
it was down to like a 1/2 inch, 1/4 inch pipe because
Yeah.
of so much sediment in the. It blew my mind.
I
'cause
remember my
thought
dad having to
sediment would
cut
just lay.
pipes out of the walls and stuff and replace them because they were so clogged. Yeah.
But that's
That's
what
just
it is.
Yeah, that's just from.
Yeah, a lot of times the shallower ones are
Mineral
your sand wells. I mean, it's 90, 60, 90 feet, and you can hit
Yeah,
water
up here
enough
it's that
that you're
nasty
pulling it.
mud crap.
But once you get down to 300, 350 feet, usually the water's really, really good, and the well will last a super long time. I mean,
'Cause I'd
you
imagine
may have
it'd
to
be
replace
rock
the
bed
pump
down there,
from just pumping constantly.
It depends where you're at, Jay. Like if you're on my place on a hill, you're not hitting bedrock yet. Now your place, you're not really on a hill. You're kind of, if you think about where your house is at to maybe where the creek bed's at, Jay. You don't have very far to go to get to that creek bed. So the creek bed's going to be kind of close to rock, bedrock.
Bedrock,
You know what I mean? So yours might not have to go as low to get to that bedrock. Where me being up on that hill where I'm at over there, think of where my house is at to where the creek's running at. I have to go a lot deeper. You know what I mean? To get down to that good quote unquote water.
That reminds me of something. You know what geologists know how to do?
Oh dear God.
Oh, here's a dad joke coming in. Coming in, folks. You ready?
Make the bedrock.
Jeff liked it.
You're welcome.
You know what, Gary? I bet Jason made deployments just hilarious.
I'm sure he did.
I'm sure he did. I never got to deploy with Jay.
I don't know though. Everybody probably looked down on him.
They definitely looked at him.
That's 100%. Yeah, that's true.
All 5, 6 of them.
Look at this little action figure. Oh, it never gets old.
Go to a commercial.
If no one has ever seen Jay, they would think he's like 2.5 feet tall.
Oh yeah.
You know, it's funny.
He's pretty normal height.
You know,
You're
what's
what-
funny,
you're
we
what-
had,
you're what,
When
4'8"?
we had 4'8", yeah.
5'1".
When we had the big opening, we had a lot of people. Grand big opening, yeah.
And big old.
Of Paramount Tactical Store.
Yeah. Of the
His
store.
vocabulary is
We need to work
vast.
on your adjective placement.
Vocabulary is vast,
Listen,
folks.
I'm trying to speak
Anyway.
more better, but anyway.
I'm getting him a
when we had
thesaurus for
the
Christmas.
opening, people came up to me. They're like, "You're not that short." And I'm like, "Why? Thank you. Who are you?"
He wore boots
They were
boots
like-
that day.
and they would just be like, "Oh, the podcast. I figured you were like 3 feet tall, right?" I'm like, "No,
You're
just
not that
slightly
short."
over that, but
You know what? We should put him on sometime, but put him in like a horse mask. He's just sitting here in one of those horse masks.
Think a mouse mask. Something like
Well, the
that.
horse. I
mouse?
mean,
I'm
horse
definitely going to be in
and ass,
the.
I'm just,
I'm definitely going to be in the T-Rex blow up.
we have one of those.
I have
There
one,
we
I have
go.
one
That's
too.
right. There you
no,
go.
she does that rubber chicken one that came around that one night, Jay, to my house.
Yeah, exactly.
We'll put him in an Anon mask. Oh, we'll definitely get rated for that.
That or
Be
no, just put it
swatted.
in the anonymous mask. Like,
So I'm saying,
like
if-
Jeff's got
if,
that.
If we
Oh,
have a
it's-
guy
it's-
sitting here with the Anon mask, we're gonna get swatted.
Oh, Jeff's was hanging earlier. It's gone now. He must be ready to
showed
put it on.
He just showed it. To
Oh shoot! I was looking at Jay.
Yeah.
I haven't had to look down from the camera to see him.
Jason Sponsor brings up a good point that some people may not think about, or maybe more people think about it than I know. But leaving their camper fully stocked with MREs, canned food, and water, so that they can just hook up and go.
Well, you got to have that money to have a camper first,
That's true.
Ooh,
We
that's
stopped.
fair
At,
point.
we're getting a camper. We stopped and looked at one yesterday.
bruh.
What?
The one we stopped and looked at was
I
too
lived
small.
I lived in one for 3.5 months.
Okay.
It was awful.
We lived,
But we're-
we
I mean,
lived
we're
in
just
one
going to
for
the
2
beach.
years.
I think I would.
I
Be,
had it was me, my wife, and a 2-year-old.
I think I'd be fine living in one for a little while.
We did it for about
Yeah.
2 years. It was a good time. I mean, pick up and go whenever you want.
Less to
Less-
Oh no, no,
clutter.
no! I was in one spot stuck for 3.5 months in my parents' yard, in their side yard with my wife, and we had to go in and do laundry and yeah,
And with
Kinda
a
awkward.
2-year-old.
with my wife living at the in-laws.
I feel like I could do it. I think it would be a good time.
Jay, you had to put an addition on your house for your deck because you felt cramped.
I didn't say I don't like nice things. I just said I could do it.
Oh,
But
Oh my god!
That brings
you
up
won't
a
even
good
you won't even
point.
camp overnight, Jay, with us.
Again, right? I didn't say I don't like nice things
Do
like
you
a bed.
tent? Do you tent?
No,
camp?
he will not go tent camp. He said
What?
he's had to tent camp before. He will never just go tent camp again unless
First of all,
Brianna wants to.
First of all,
Unless Brianna wants to.
No. The
My
bigger
ass.
story is this: is that my current my current tent that I have is like a 12-person tent. I really don't need that, right?
Well,
So,
Jay,
like,
look,
I'll just go home.
I
I'll drive my
know,
side by
I know
side
you're
home.
from Long Island,
You can buy 2 tents.
and what you see those people doing on the streets, that's not technically camping.
Yeah.
That's
No, we tried to
It's
do
urban
we
camping.
tried to do man camp. It was last year. He's like, nah. It was like 2 a.m. He's like, man, I'll just ride my side by side home. It's like, just stay for 3 hours. We'll get up in the morning and go home.
First of all, I got home from work and I went out
There we
there. Right.
As he
He just
backed.
wanted to go home and sleep in his own bed.
Yeah, do you know what he did when he left? He backed his side by side into my side by side. You know what he did? He held he was like this as we're looking at around the campfire. He held his pizza out the window and said, "It's fine," and then left.
Yeah.
so I'm in there spinning the
didn't-
globe.
I didn't
trying
drop
to
my
find his
pizza.
way home.
His globe was mounted to the dash of his side.
Yeah.
He's like, "Where am I going to go tonight?"
Need my atlas.
Man, we are just crazy tonight.
right.
But that brings up a good point on whether
Perfect.
you fill up your trailer. Where are you going to go? Do you bug out? I'll never bug out.
Yeah, you got
Right.
more there
I'm
to
going to bug.
sustain you than your.
I need a semi truck to haul all my preps and everything I have down the road to where.
Right.
Those people that think I'm just going to go off into the National Forest or Bureau of Land Management land, and I'm going to head out there and I'm going to live off. Yeah, good luck. Good
Right.
luck.
Go,
Yeah,
go,
no
go,
way.
Go
And so
try
is
that.
everyone else.
Go do a trial run for about a week. See how that works out for you.
It's like,
Well-
it's like watching that show Alone, where they're like,
Uh-huh.
"Oh, we're gonna live off the land and we're gonna find so
I
much
got-
food," and then they're starving after.
I
the
got
first
100
week.
days in me easy. Day 4, I'm quitting.
Yeah. Yeah.
Day 4.
Yeah. The better the ones are.
Gary's always like, "Oh, you're so weak, quitter."
What's that survival one that they give you an
Naked and
option?
Naked and Afraid.
They give you an option to bring something. There's always one dude that's just like, I'm a real survivalist, and he brings a bow and stick.
Oh no, I thought you
Right.
were talking about the guys like I brought a Snickers.
Yeah, no, they give. Yeah.
I'm ready.
Jay, have you seen Alone?
Yeah. Alone's
Okay.
good. Alone's good. They're just basically starving to death slowly.
Yeah,
most
they
of
are.
them. There's only a few of them that actually have thrived, but
Well, I don't think any of them thrive.
Thrive.
There was
but
one
they were
guy
able
that-
to
there-
sustain.
there was
longer.
definitely one or two I've seen where they've got like one of them got some decent big game.
Yeah.
And he was doing pretty good.
Yeah.
One or two of them, but for the most part, they just die slower.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
they definitely don't got 150 days in them.
No.
Every contestant I've ever seen on that show. No, of course, they do put them in some pretty crappy places, but it
So
is what it
if
is.
you as an individual want to test your preps and say, hey, you think, hey, I got this, I can do this, I can go, you know, 3 days without food because we're all nine meals from Anarchy. Go in on a Friday and hit the main breaker on your house, and then don't turn it back on till Monday morning.
Yeah.
And see, when the toilets stop flushing, if you're on city sewer and the water doesn't come out of the faucet because you're not, you don't have a pump that's working or whatnot, but just see.
I mean, we've been out here on the
Can I
mountain and
actually
lost
go?
power for 3 or 4 days at the time.
Yeah,
So
Yeah.
And honestly,
those
it's
kids start
And
looking
the
awfully
kids, the
tasty.
kids are still alive. So.
Do you all have back feed on your house?
I saw Noah walking
do you mean?
across there looking like a
Do you,
fried
have
chicken.
do you have a generator plug? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's one thing I got to put in while I'm off this.
I
for
want to
the
get.
next
I
3.5
eventually do want to get a
months.
whole house generator, but
Gary, they're only like $12,000. Get it?
I know.
Run it on, put it on propane.
That's my next move is the propane.
You already have that big.
Yeah, you already
propane
have the
tank.
propane,
I got
Jay.
the
So-
propane tank. I
You
just
just
need
need
to get
them
the
to-
generator.
Yeah, $12,000 done, ready to
Costco,
rock.
they have them at Costco, pretty affordable.
Generac's the best I've seen. That's worked all the time. So that's the only one
That's,
can
I
vouch
got a
for.
Generac that's a 22K, and it sits on 750
whole
gallons of
house?
propane. Runs everything.
Well, with that, on 150 gallons of propane, Jeff, what's the
I think you said
quote
750.
unquote for lifespan of that tank?
Okay, so I have 750 total. I run 2 tanks. They're daisy chained.
Okay.
And the only thing in my house that runs on propane normally is my cooktop.
Okay.
Everything else runs on electric. But if the grid goes down and we run solely off the generator, which will run the ACs and everything else,
Right.
depending on the load that you have on it, which we wouldn't have much, we'd just leave, refrigerators and freezers on because we have
Right.
4 freezers full of meat that we wouldn't want to go bad. I can get probably maybe 5 weeks out of it.
Okay.
Okay.
That's
So
interesting.
that
you
would
can
be it.
sustain a pretty good hurricane and wait for,
That's good.
society to
Yeah.
come back.
Yeah,
So,
'cause
and in
I've
those
got
5
500
weeks,
gallons.
I would cook everything in all my freezers, and I would
Right.
freeze
Right.
dry it all
Yep.
and put it in Mylar bags and store it away, so that when the propane did run out, I'd have 2 years worth of.
Are you on a
freeze
well
dried
there
meat.
too, Jeff?
Yeah.
You're well and septic.
Mm-hmm.
So I say you could kick your well pump on and off, accordingly to be able to save that, because that's a heavy draw and that's running.
Even with a car battery, I can take a car, pull one out of my dually, out of my 2-ton, take it down there and sit it in the well and just alligator clamp it to it and run it when I need it and turn it off when I don't.
That's
And then we
interesting
have
to
a
think
solar
about,
panel to charge the batteries.
Yeah, because not many people think about that. Obviously, you have, but not many people think about, okay, I have a whole house generator. Okay. So you run out of propane, how long is it going to last? Or like me, like Gary, we have generators that will plug in and backfeed our house. Okay, it'll run as long as we have gas for.
Sure.
Right.
And if I run out of that, what do I need to start going to the neighbors that have already died and start siphoning out of their freaking car,
can
out of
help
their
them.
lawnmower or anything? That's where you're kind of at. Am I going down to the rocks, the sheets?
The few times
And-
we've had to use the generator when power's been out for an extended period of time, like it usually happens when Gary's gone. Every single time it happens when Gary's gone.
He does it on purpose to see if you're ready.
And
I'm like, this is gonna suck. I'm leaving.
I unplug everything. I literally run one little lamp, and I keep the freezers
One lamp too many.
plugged in. Just
Freezers
to-
and refrigerator
yep,
going, yeah.
and that just to use the gas as efficiently as possible. So
No, it's interesting to think about. I don't think many people think about longevity of a backfeed or a generator or anything. They just think, oh yeah, it just
Well,
comes on and you're good to go.
I do because I'm frugal and I know gas is expensive.
And the other component that we haven't
So
talked
is-
about tonight
so is
that
death.
does need to be brought up is the medical side of it, right? You definitely need to have the skills and ability and the supplies to be able to treat yourself. And again, those are definitely perishable skills. And on top of that, the part of the problem too is I see too many people. They got IFACs, they got trauma kits, never been to a course. Apparently, they think they're going to open that thing up and just be
Magically.
spiritually and magically endowed with the knowledge and skills to be able to use that stuff efficiently and effectively. That's not how that works, folks. That again, we start getting to a technical skill that you need training with, whether it's through us or somebody else.
Well, you
At
got
a
one of
minimum,
those
get
coming up,
stop
too.
the bleed. We do.
And it's a use or lose.
What's that?
You got one coming up.
A med course.
No.
I thought there was one this fall.
We
did.
just had one.
We just
Oh,
had
okay.
one. You missed it, Chris.
my
Just like
bad.
you missed the off-road driving. You're missing
Well,
everything. I'm just saying.
I can't drink while I'm
It's-
doing off-road driving.
It's a
so-
use or
brings
lose
up,
skill though too. You need to go back to it every
100%.
year or
Oh,
so
yeah.
because
Well,
everything changes.
And again, one of the things, the culmination exercise that we had at the off-road driving course, all of our clients that were there, this had already been to one of our med courses. So we threw in a medical scenario at the end,
Well, that's cool.
and
They forgot.
it didn't go
March.
so well.
Yeah.
Oh,
They,
wow.
they were like doing parts of March here and doing parts of March here and like forgetting parts of March and
Quick, hook the winch to him, drag him over here, and we'll treat him
I was
over
the
here.
dummy. I was the dummy that they.
Summer was the victim. So we got it's actually a really, I'm going to show that video pretty soon once I get out the footage and edit it. But we actually put a vehicle on its side. We had Summer trapped in the vehicle. They had to
Rescue
extricate
me.
her. They had to extricate her from that vehicle, and then they had to upright that vehicle.
Extricate?
They had to get me out of the
Extract?
vehicle and treat me,
Extricate.
and then get the
That's-
vehicle, then
that's-
recover the vehicle.
I've been in that situation, to be honest with you.
I have too. I've been in 2 rollovers.
I
wasn't injured though.
I wasn't injured, but my brother was. It was in his Blazer going down a gravel road, and he was playing around, throwing it sideways. He ended up running off the road, and I was in the passenger seat. Passenger side front tire actually went up like a bundle of tree branches, and it tipped it. And as we went, he grabbed the outside, like the drip rail of
Oh,
it,
no.
and
Oh.
it degloved his hand.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, we need to call somebody. I mean, he's standing there and
That looks bad. We need to call
yeah,
somebody.
I mean, it was like 9:30 in the morning. We were getting ready to go out on the boat, and I was like, oh God. And then just to make matters worse, we had a fresh cooler of the 30 rack on ice, and as the truck rolled over, it spilled all the beer everywhere. So we were totally coated in beer. But no, I had no idea what to do. And this is when I was probably 21, 22. And he's 2 years younger than me. But I mean, to this day, he has scars on his hand where, I mean, it completely degloved him. And I was standing there going,
What do we do?
You gonna put that back on?
Yeah, I like drug him over to the side. I'm like, I got you. I mean, he's just sitting there going, ah.
Well,
But so I had no idea. So I mean, that's a huge thing.
And
I
that's
mean,
a good example of that's the phone solves everybody's problems, right? I don't care if your power's out. I don't care
Quote,
if you're
unquote.
in a car wreck. I don't care if you're injured. I don't care if your kid's laying there dying.
Yeah.
You think that the answer is going to come through that phone, and it's not going to get there nearly the time that you think it
And
is.
No.
Jeff brought up a good point where you got to keep going back. Like, I think about it all the time. I obviously end up at every one of our trauma courses, and though I'm not actively going through the entire course every time, I'm sitting there picking up bits and pieces every time. But I still feel like I'm not thoroughly prepared if something were to happen, especially to my kids. You know, like, would I be able to save my kids? Like, I would obviously want to,
Well,
you know?
You better be able to.
There's a couple
Technology changes so quick. I remember when I joined the Army back in the mid '80s. You know, a tourniquet was a scarf and a stick, and now look where we're at. You know,
And a
everybody
last
carries
resort,
one.
by the way.
Yeah, and you never did it, and then you put the red T on the forehead and give them a thumbs up and hope the medics don't drop them on the way to whatever they're taking them. But even the tourniquets today, all the different types and how easily you can use them one-handed. You know, the whole saying one is none and two is one. You should always carry more than one. I mean, back in the day, you didn't carry any. You just carried a do-rag, and if something happened, you just that or a belt or a stick, and that was
Gary
it.
always says in class, he tells everybody in class, look, when an emergency happens, it is not time for arts and crafts.
No,
like
arts and crafts.
You think you're going to be good at it, just freaking carry a tourniquet.
It is not the time for arts and crafts and a scavenger hunt.
Yeah.
Like, you are not going to be effective. All these people that think that, oh, well, I could just make a tourniquet. No, you
take
can't.
off my belt.
The worst tourniquet on earth is a belt. Just so you guys know out
absolutely.
there. It is absolutely ineffective. During the Boston bombing, folks, there was like 42 tourniquets that improvised tourniquets used. You know what percentage of those were considered effective tourniquets? 0.
Oh.
0. Complete 0% of them completely stopped.
Though.
I did.
You were very confident. I almost questioned myself.
What was probably more effective, every time I think about the Boston bombing, I think
I'm not
about
saying they didn't save lives.
No. I know
But
what you mean.
but as far as actually
stopping
They slowed
blood flow.
bleeding, but
Including-
maybe not stop.
including bleeding completely the way a tourniquet should.
Correct.
And there could have been people that have died because of that.
I think about the picture of the injured person. I think they were in like a wheelchair or something, being rushed down the street, and there was literally a person running beside them, pinching the artery or vein to stop
Just holding it
just
shut.
holding it shut to save their life.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, do yourself a favor, buy 10 of them, put one in every car you have, carry one in your pocket.
Yep.
I mean,
ladies, I carry a cross bag a lot of times. You can put a small tourniquet in there, one of the smaller ones.
Oh, you with the
We got
times,
kits.
Summer.
We got kits in
What's
all our
that?
cars.
Everybody's wearing this cross bags now. You're with the times.
I have 3 of them.
This is sling bag.
You're not like Robin or Brittany that has the freaking suitcase
Brittany
bags.
said she wanted one. She said she was going to buy one. She saw mine one day.
I've seen Brittany's purse. You could sit in it.
It's a baby.
Well,
in
listen,
there.
I have a bigger purse too, but
Gary's CPU could fit in her purse and you wouldn't be able to see
and
it.
so going back to that though, you're absolutely right. You know, there's a plethora of tourniquets out there. There's new ones coming out all the time. You know, what we do in the course is we go through the tourniquets that we recommend. We tell people why. We make sure they get reps on all of those types of tourniquets.
as well as we have others that we don't recommend on hand to show them and show
Yep.
them why we don't recommend
Yeah,
those.
why we don't recommend it, you know, what's the failure points in those and why we recommend the ones that we do.
Yeah.
But then the other thing too, and I've talked about it on the show before, one of my favorite things is our combat wrap. So it is basically a pressure bandage, but it can easily be used as a tourniquet as well. And you know, having things that you can easily carry, Summer's going to grab one.
Yeah, it's
we'll show it
small.
to you guys. But, you know, you can carry one of those things in your pocket, and it's easy to carry every day. It's super effective. You can use it as a chest seal. You can use it as a tourniquet. You can use it as a pressure bandage. But this is something that we've already used before, but again,
Give it to Summer. And
That's
we'll
your
cut to her camera.
that's your display. That's your
There you go.
display piece. Yeah.
Give it to Summer. We'll cut to her camera.
So this is just how small and compact it is. Throw it in whatever little tiny bag or in your pocket, but
It's like the size of a flashlight.
yeah, it's like a roll of this clear plastic,
Stretchy stuff.
It sticks to itself really, really well.
but it's not too stretchy.
Right.
You can circumferentially wrap that very easily to the point to
I like
where
that
it is a tourniquet. As a matter of fact, we did a entire assessment in med training for a church, and for all of their, the Sunday school for like 5 and under, where a lot of those tourniquets aren't going to go that small, and most of those, instead of tourniquets, or in addition to tourniquets, we have those in there so that, and we trained all the Sunday school teachers on those so they could use those effectively on kids, babies, animals, all those things. It's a great piece of kit that has multi-use.
And I want to
And
put
it's very inexpensive as well.
Yeah,
I want to put a
it's on our website. Go buy some.
I want to put a disclaimer out there for the tourniquets, folks. If you get a tourniquet after this, for those of you who are listening, right?
It's a good disclaimer. Thank you, Jason.
You should not train with the tourniquets that you are planning to use one day. Okay, you should get training tourniquets and use those. Once you use a tourniquet correctly, it has degraded.
Diminished, yeah.
Right,
It's like a seat.
degraded.
It's like a seatbelt. After your seatbelt's
becomes-
been in a wreck, it's
Correct,
not good anymore.
right?
It's
So-
become structurally
If
degraded.
you
Degraded,
train
yeah.
with the tourniquet, that is a training tourniquet.
Yep.
All right. Like your tourniquets that you're going to use in real life, do not train with.
And we have people that are like, oh, well, I got to buy 2 and they're $30 each. Well, $60.
How much is your life
What's
worth?
a life?
Right?
Yeah, how much is
Come
your
on.
life worth?
I mean, what's your,
Imagine
what's
you-
your child's life worth?
You
You're
spend
bleeding
that-
out on a rock, and you're like, I'm glad I skimped on that $30.
You spend that on breakfast at Chick-fil-A in the morning.
We spent that at lunch today.
Yeah.
We went to the new buffet.
And
It was
also,
really good.
folks, do not buy tourniquets on Amazon. All right.
Oh yeah,
They-
just
they-
like don't buy parachutes on Amazon.
Those are like some of the most counterfeited.
Yeah,
and
very
when
counterfeit.
you see a counterfeited tourniquet, they are the cheapest junk that will not work. So again, buy them from a reputable source. I know one called Paramount Tactical Solutions.
We get ours direct from
We
the
get-
actual manufacturers.
Direct from the manufacturers. We're a direct dealer for them. And again, you're supporting freaking American business.
I always say
Merkin.
there are things you can cut prices on. Life-saving equipment.
Yeah.
It
don't
should not
don't
matter.
bargain
Don't
basement hunt for
bargain,
tourniquets and body,
Body
armor.
armor.
Yeah, don't bargain hunt on
And
life-saving
parachutes.
equipment.
Parachutes too.
Parachutes too.
This is barely
There's no bad reviews on parachutes. I don't understand.
I bought mine off of eBay. It's all right.
I was about to say, just buy it on eBay. You'll be
As long
fine.
as, I mean, everybody that buys them, like, hey, package came quickly. I haven't used it yet. That's the best reviews you see. I don't see anything bad. So
It looks
Used
fine.
once.
go get the Red Bull parachute. Sorry, what was you saying, Jeff?
No, I was saying used once, parachutes. Used once.
Minor holes.
barely used.
We had some good questions up there regarding people asking
Yeah.
about, dehydrating food versus freezing.
Yeah, I didn't understand that.
I
So
think-
I would like to hear some of that.
I think doing some of both is probably ideal.
Well,
Canning,
Jeff-
canning as well.
Jeff has a lot of experience on that. That's one of
Right.
the things that
Yeah.
I wanted to talk.
That's what I
know
wanted to hear from
he
him.
has some of his own food. Well, take it away,
We-
Jeff.
We do food stores and whatnot. We do vacuum sealing of stuff that has a 20-year shelf life, rice, beans, and stuff like that. We are now looking to get into the freeze dried portion of it because it's a bit of an investment, a couple $1,000s to get a decent freeze dryer and whatnot. But then take our meat, you go ahead and you cook your meat, or you take your fresh fruits, or you take your fresh vegetables or whatnot. You put them in there, you freeze dry them, you pull them out, you put them in a Mylar bag, and they're good for 20 years or so.
25 years,
And
huh?
yeah, depending on how you do it, you got to make sure all the moisture's out. And I'm sure it'll take a few dry runs.
You could get those little moisture packets too to enclose. Because I know,
Correct.
we're a Mountain House dealer and we have a plethora of Mountain House, stocked for ourselves. And every time you open one of those, you got to make sure you take the little moisture packet out before you.
Those are
Yep.
seasoning. Babe.
And all the buckets, all the food storage buckets we do ourselves for ourselves and family and whatnot. We put those in each one and whatnot. We break it up. We do everything from, sugar, flour, grits. I got a friend locally here who I think it was earlier this year. You know, we took raw corn out of his silo, went down to the mill and ground it all down in the corn mill right there using old stones and everything. It actually used a water wheel to run the stones and everything. The mill itself's over about 150 years old.
Oh, wow.
We collected it all up, brought it all back, put it in vacuum sealed bags, labeled it. We did cornmeal. We did grits. We've done sugar. I think we're going to do some sugar cane here in the next couple of weeks. We've got someone locally that's growing sugar cane, so we're going to go out and see how that's processed and how we can try to find a way, not canning, but maybe vacuum sealing so we can prolong the use of that and whatnot. And then we do buckets that'll last us, between me and Sherry being the only people in the house right now, for us, you know, one bucket will last us 2 weeks. And, you know, I don't know, 35, 40 buckets laying around the house worth of food.
And Jeff, you guys are making those buckets of emergency food?
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks like, let me see here.
I think he said they usually do like a couple of Mylar bags of rice and beans and that kind of stuff in there.
So,
even like seasonings and stuff, I believe he said.
So we took a picture of what we put in there.
It's a good idea.
Really well. But then on the back, it just lists, let me see if I can get it to where the light's
Sherry is very organized.
Sherry is very organized. What's in there?
Sweet.
And then the day it was sealed and whatnot.
Oh.
And then, you know, we use it for ourselves. God forbid there's an apocalyptic situation or whatnot. And we've got to hand it out to friends or family maybe, or, you know, somebody figures out.
How often do you do it?
Do you
do a bucket like every 2 weeks? Do you do a mass amount of buckets all at one time?
10 once a month, or
we did
more random?
No, we did 14 last weekend. Because
how often would you do a batch that size though?
So over time, we'll collect, we'll vacuum seal, we'll put stuff together, we'll sort it, and then once every couple months, we'll, you know, order some of the food safe buckets in, and we'll sit down over a weekend with coffee and load them all out and seal them up. So maybe once a quarter, we'll do.
Gotcha.
Oh, okay.
So Jeff,
15,
I'm going to make a suggestion.
20 of them.
Yeah,
I'm going to make a suggestion.
Oh God,
that's not
this is going to be a brilliant.
This is what I think you should do. Is every now and then, right? Just make a bucket with nothing on it, so it's a mystery bucket, right? And then when you guys are feeling down about stuff, you're
Jay,
like, let's play the lotto.
You gotta
right?
throw
Like,
you gotta
what
throw
do we
cool
got
stuff in
this
that.
week,
You gotta
right?
throw cool stuff in that
and
bucket.
You got a mystery bucket. You're just like, whoa, score. Right? That'd be fun.
With a Jack in the Box toy in the inside.
Right. It'd just be like a bottle of bourbon, like one pack of
you just
oatmeal,
make some
and a
mystery
granola
buckets.
bar.
So going back to that though, like
That's not a bad
those
idea.
buckets that you're preparing now, those are all just you're just vacuum sealing those.
Those were just back. Now we have some freeze dried stuff in there that we purchased freeze dried products like
Right,
Mountain House and other ones
Yeah.
that we've gotten in, and we've broken them down and then put them in our buckets with some of our stuff. But we're going to actually invest in a freeze dryer here probably in the next couple months. And then as we rotate livestock through processing, we'll take, so I have like a whole hog in the freezer right now. We'll take it out. We'll cook the entire thing. We'll freeze dry it. We'll stick it in Mylar bags, and then we'll set it away. And then we probably won't do a cow for another year, but I got half a cow in the freezer now. So we'll do some of that. And as we slaughter, we'll take what's in the freezer and freeze dry it and put it in Mylar bags, and then move the new meat into the freezer. That way, God forbid, if the grid went down and I run out of propane, I'm not wasting every bit of meat that I have in the 4 freezers that are in the
that's
shop.
one of my concerns too.
Jeff, you might have said it. What's freeze dried pork shelf life?
25 years.
Anything freeze dried, you can do for about 25 years. Yeah.
Well, I mean,
No
even like
shit.
the Mountain
Wow.
House like the Mountain House meals, their shelf life is 25
Yeah,
years.
but
and they have all the meats.
I
in
know,
them.
but those Mountain House ones, I don't know what's in that. It
Now-
could be total soy. Then I'm not
No,
privy to. You know, I'm just talking about
freeze dried food in general will last around 25 years.
I know the
I'm gonna
freeze
take my
drying
pork-
machines are expensive.
Or my chicken, and the chicken I'll shred, the pork I'll dice up, the beef I'll dice up.
Yeah.
You put it in your trays in the freeze dryer and you set it in, and take anywhere from 12 to 16 hours to freeze dry. to
Yeah.
suck all the moisture out and whatnot.
Yep.
And then you'll pull it out and you'll check it, because fruit's a little different from vegetables. As per meat, you'll check it and make sure that there's no moisture, because moisture is what'll make it go bad. So
Yeah, I'll
if you
make
have
it
to
rot.
put it back in, redo it for a few more hours, bring it back out. And once you're done, you throw it in the Mylar bags and seal them up, write what's on them or put a sticker on it, and then just
25 years ish.
add water. You're good to go.
That's insane. I'm not going to ask you the one, what does it cost of the one you're getting, but for a middle of the road freeze dryer ballpark.
So a medium-sized freeze dryer, which has 6 trays.
Okay.
I don't know exactly how much it does, but a medium.
Are you talking like cookie sheet size trays?
Yeah, about the size of a
Full sheet cake. Not
a
that guys
cookie
do
sheet,
that.
but more narrow because of the size of it. So you're saying maybe about 14 inches wide and 18 to 20 inches long.
Okay,
And you just
yeah.
put them in
That's
there.
typical.
Okay, so that one runs. I mean, there's many people out there, but I think $2,600.
Okay.
Yeah.
So they're not cheap.
But they're not. But you think about it, if
Well,
$2,600, and you know what Mountain House costs
Yeah, I
and
was
some of
about
these
to
other
say the
freeze
same
dryers.
thing.
Bro, they're expensive. Yeah, just for one
So
bag.
you'll for me, half a pig, I've paid for it. Just in what the
absolutely.
meat's
Yeah, you
worth.
made out.
So and
See, this is
What we should do is just all go in on one, and then
well. That's what I was about
we
to
can
say.
all learn together, and then we'll just pass it around.
That's the cool thing about like how
Yeah.
I
No,
grew
we
up with.
just do a weekend's worth of chopping it up and then let someone run it over a week.
Oh, yeah.
You don't want to. You want to get a butcher to chop.
I'll be home
someone
back
that's
in
skilled.
What do you mean?
I got
Chop-
skills.
chop-
I can chop
Yeah,
up
you
meat.
You don't
You
know to
use
take
use
meat
a
off of a
knife.
bone.
Use
You don't need a
kni-
No,
degree.
it's cooked first, Jason. You cook it first, then you chop it, then you freeze dry it.
Jay, it's already
I
cooked.
got you.
yeah.
I'm picking up what you're putting down.
But I mean, that was part of the.
but irregardless,
We'll have a butcher.
Anyway,
you don't need a butcher to take meat off a bone.
We're gonna
Jay.
have a butcher cut up our pork
Yeah, but
chops.
I feel like
I only eat.
I feel
I
like
only
if you're not a
eat-
skilled butcher, you leave a lot on.
You make
Have
sure
you
you,
met me?
you know what you do. You get good. You get better at it.
Yeah,
you know how you
So-
get better at it. You keep working on it.
You learn.
But-
I
It
don't
will-
only eat. I only eat meat prepared by a butcher.
but you know that's
It's like I only go to the deli and get my bagels.
Were you even in SF? Freaking weirdo.
so
going
think
back
about
to
it.
what
though.
Jeff alluded to
Yeah.
a second ago, where they obviously
bad
have a
idea.
community of people that are sharing resources and working together. And that's how I grew up too. We're surrounded by families that lived nearby, and like my papa would need to plant the garden, he'd go borrow my great uncle's tractor and do that, and then he'd let him borrow this, and like so buying like so it sounds like a freeze dryer is a huge investment for one person, but if you
with
have
4 or
several
5 people,
families
it's not bad at all.
benefiting off of it, then it easily pays for itself.
Yeah.
Well, even going back to that, people talk about gold, silver, and all this other stuff for when shit hits the fan. At the end of the
Awesome.
day, you need resources that are valuable to people.
Yeah, it's
Like
gonna be
this.
harder.
You
Right
can't
here.
eat silver.
See this
Yeah.
right here?
You can't eat gold. You need those resources that are worth something to somebody. So again, just like some of the things that Summer said, having power equipment, having other things that if things did go sideways, that people would want, and that you could barter and trade for.
And-
That's the real key.
And that's why when we win the $1.2 billion lottery tonight, we're building the Melton
Oh,
compound.
is it tonight?
Yeah.
tonight, Saturday. Wait,
We're
no,
We're
Wednesday,
building the
Wednesday,
Melton
Saturday.
compound, location undisclosed.
My last night being a brokey,
Nobody's winning tonight. That's going to go bigger.
And
I'm winning. What
we
are you
might
talking about?
invite some of you people that have
Are
resources.
you an American?
Can I have $10?
No.
No.
So think about
What
what
do you,
I'm
what
just
do you
glad
bring
you-
to the table,
I'm
Chris?
just glad you
There's-
have this
there's-
here for when the Velociraptors come back.
So when
Can you
the
see it in the
Oh
camera?
yeah.
what's the
45,
government
70,
pushing?
4570, baby.
What's the government been pushing for the last 6 months to a year?
COVID shots.
Besides that, which is making a great comeback and not being tested in any way, shape, or form. But
Absolutely.
we got this big push for we need to get off meat. We need to eat bugs. We need to eat, manufactured
Worms.
meat. We need to do away with all this,
Tofu.
Those cows are
all the
farting so
meat,
much, it's
all the
polluting
cows that
everything.
are causing climate change and everything else.
Mhm.
So if you if you freeze dry beef, pork, and chicken, and the government, I'm not saying that the government would outlaw beef, pork, or chicken, but if they were, to outlaw beef, pork, and chicken, and you're sitting on 400 or 500 pounds of beef, pork, and chicken.
Right?
That's a gold mine.
It's a lot more valuable than gold.
A lot more valuable than gold.
I need my beef.
You can trade for just about anything: ammo, gasoline, medicine,
Vehicles.
food, cigarettes, vehicles, whatever. So there's a lot to it. It's good for 25 years. It'll probably be good longer than I'm alive.
Right,
I'm
right.
probably being 80.
That's just the
Wait,
longest person lived to try it again. They were like, "Oh, it's still good."
Which brings up a good point, Jeff. What do you guys rotate through and eat some of these freeze dried things, or you're not really at the point yet where you feel like you need to start using them?
So nothing that we have sealed that we rotate through, but we have a whole nother stock of things like, spaghetti sauce and spaghetti and
Sure,
different
yeah.
daily
Yeah.
stuff. And we rotate through that pretty
Do you
much,
think,
I don't know,
when, do you
monthly
think
or
when
so.
you're 70, you might start rotating through some of the buckets?
Well, I'm going to try the lime
That'll
washed
be
egg.
post-apocalypse.
Yeah, I mean, post-apocalyptic.
Okay.
Yeah. The lime washed eggs that we put in the jars about a year ago, I'm going to pull them out and try them here around the first of
I'm
the year.
interested
Just
in
to
that
see if
too.
it
Let me
actually
know how
works.
that is. I've heard a lot about that, and I never saw it growing up or anything. Only recently heard about it, but it's very interesting.
I've never tried it, but I've got, I don't know, 250, 300 eggs that are sitting
How
in
long are they supposed to last like that?
2 to 5 years.
Oh, okay.
I mean, I don't know. I have one that I'm going to let sit for years
So
and years
odd
and
to
years.
see eggs sitting there in clear water looking solution, and they're like, "Oh, I'm going to eat it." And it's a year
And
old.
Sherry's like, "Oh, we'll do it
Is
10 years."
that a raw egg or a hard-boiled egg?
No, it's raw.
Raw.
Be sketched.
So you can open it up, crack it up. Cause I can't do
Supposedly-
hard-boiled
It's
eggs.
supposedly just like a
You
fresh
don't like
egg.
hard-boiled
Just
eggs?
like
Oh
the
my
day
God,
it was
no.
laid.
Yeah.
Just like the day it was laid. But
Yeah.
Sherry
Okay,
doesn't
right.
eat eggs, so I'm the guinea pig. She's like, "Oh no, let it go a little further." Yeah, no.
I like
She
good
doesn't
eggs.
eat.
Just not hard-boiled.
So you can't do a deviled egg either?
Right?
I will eat a double egg.
No,
but,
you don't enjoy a deviled egg.
Oh.
No, he tried one when I made him recently.
I'll eat the filling out of it.
For lunch, I could literally eat a half a dozen.
Well, good. Pat yourself on the back. Back
You're
to
the
the
first
podcast.
person I've ever heard that doesn't like hard-boiled eggs.
How long does a pickled egg last?
Oh, I mean, you're sitting in vinegar.
I've seen them sit in convenience stores for years.
Yeah,
So-
for sure. That's
Especially-
kind of one of my questions.
Especially the ones that
The
aren't like
pickled
the
pig
deep,
feet, too.
the deep pink.
Yeah.
Beet ones. It's the
Like-
ones that are like the white pink.
Yeah,
Like
that
they
one's
fall
black.
into the bottom and they're never
And they
coming
have
back.
like the sausages sitting there with
Yeah.
Yeah. What
Right next to the
the
pig's
full-on hot
feet.
dogs with them.
Yeah.
What does
Yeah.
pickling do?
It's,
what does pickling do to the egg? Like, how long does that
it
make
kills
it
the
last?
bacteria.
Yeah,
Well, I know.
Nothing
yes.
can grow in vinegar.
Well, then
Yes.
why are you
All right, well,
asking dumb questions?
let's let Jeff answer.
What does it do?
I don't
It
know.
kills the bacteria.
Pickling. I've heard a year to 2 years.
Oh, okay.
But I don't need a lot. Pickling
But
is
with
not.
pickling eggs, it's generally hard-boiled eggs that are peeled.
Yeah, they're hard boiled.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
So-
it's already been cooked. You're just trying to isolate it from any type of bacteria or anything like that that's growing. So I would assume that
one.
in theory it would go indefinitely. I mean,
I wonder if you do
the
it. Do you
date
do
on
a
the
hot-
side of your can doesn't mean the can's bag. It just means the manufacturer's trying to get you to throw it away and come buy more of their product.
Right.
Right.
Summer, I had a year-old one that I made myself, and it wasn't bad.
What's that?
I made a year-old. Robin should be listening. I had a year-old pickled egg because she never throws out my beet juice and my vinegar. It was probably 10 months old, and I ate it. It was still fine.
I was gonna ask something.
I cut
hey,
it
throw up-
first to
throw
see if
up
the
a
yolk
few-
was like rotten.
Throw
Yeah, it
a
was
few of
fine.
these comments here. We got MOA Mafia McSpook here.
That's
You got
interesting.
another point of contention now with
I might-
Jeff. Jeff is his name, right?
You got to click on it.
Yeah, but I don't
Jeff
know which
said-
one you want.
The big one.
Jeff said,
814.
Oh, McSpook.
There we go. When I was little, the town we were in at the end of a life mining town in Kentucky. They used to do a fall slaughter, and the whole town came together
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
to slaughter and can. Yeah, and again, these are things that we were, especially down south, people were doing 20, 30 years ago, but we've gotten away from that. And again, I 100% believe that is a deliberate long game push for towns not being independent, people not being independent, being much more reliant on government. I mean, that's how they fund everything they need to fund.
I'll tell you, I've never heard of canning in my life.
What?
Until I
Again.
moved to.
Oh
and
my
you realize it
God.
doesn't necessarily mean an aluminum can, right?
Yeah, no, I get it, but
Okay.
like I
It's a
never
jar.
heard of that in my life
he
until I
Jay-
moved to the south.
Jay, have you heard of a pressure cooker?
Yeah, I got that.
Okay, that's
right?
what you can in.
But
Do you really?
Yeah, but
Yeah.
not in the pressure cooker you're thinking of.
No.
Not in the Ninja fancy
No,
electronic.
no. Talk about the one that goes.
Not the
Spinning
instant
around
pot,
with
Jay.
things coming off.
How's that go again? Okay. I just wanted to make sure.
Jay, you know how many times I've been around corn, green beans, peas.
He's gonna go grab a sprinkler now that you've
He's
given him.
like, yeah.
He's like this. He's
No,
like this is how you
But
can.
you know
Chris said.
exactly.
I
That
do.
was not
Like
the sound.
Up north, right? Like
That's the thing.
nobody cans. Like
No,
you
because they're
don't- you
like
don't
they just
can.
rely on the grocery store.
Oh no, they
Yeah,
can
but
up
it's
north,
true.
Jay. They don't can in New York, maybe
That's
upstate New York, but they can up north.
New York City.
Even when I was growing up,
New York City.
I grew up in a very small town. Gary can attest. So there's nothing there. But there
7
was
people.
a cannery actually, and like people from the community could go down to the cannery and get their stuff out of their garden canned. And then it went by the wayside as I was growing up. And then in high school, the FFA teacher got it opened back up, like refitted, refurbished, whatever, and had the FFA students working with him to can stuff out of the community that people would bring
Hey,
out of the community.
Jay, in your high school, do they have the FFA?
I don't even know. I thought that's who the people who landed planes were, but I wasn't
Do you,
sure.
do you know what FFA
she's talking
stands
about.
for in high school?
I'm not going to be.
It's future. Jay, it's Future Farmers of America.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, interesting. That's interesting.
That's what the Berkeley County Youth Fair is based around, Jay.
He had a
Summer,
he
that
passed out
that
on
is a
it for
great
varsity.
idea. Is to get everybody. I mean, your neighbors at least. Your
Yeah.
immediate. I mean, my neighbors
Yeah, well,
are
Jay's my
are
neighbor.
20 acres away or whatnot. But
I'm F.
you get your neighbors together and you can something in the spring or the fall, whether it's
Yeah.
jams or whether it's beans or whatever, just so everybody can talk and get together.
Yep.
You can figure out what's going on, because in the end, if everything goes to shit, you're not standing guard 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. You have to have a
'Cause you don't know
community.
any of
You
your
have to have
neighbors.
the support.
Yeah.
Otherwise, they're just going to wait a couple days till you pass out from exhaustion and steal everything you have. So canning is a great way. We do it 2-3 times a year. We get family, friends together, and we do jams and jellies. We'll do jalapenos and beans. Some do
Tomatoes.
peanuts because they like the
Ooh,
boiled
peanuts. That's a good idea.
But
Do you have to
yeah,
can
it's just a
peanuts?
good time to get together
Aren't
and to
they
keep the
originally
skill
canned?
set that is passed on and on to younger generations,
Yeah.
because that's what happens. It gets lost.
And it's a perishable skill. I feel like I've forgotten everything I grew up on because I haven't done it in so long. Like I don't even know like which one do you water bath can, which ones are okay. Just
Well, for
you
most
know,
people, you have to start off with just this is how you cook.
This is
anything.
This is
Sure.
a
I mean,
pressure. This is
jams
a
and jellies
mason
are
jar.
easy.
This is how you boil water.
This is a new set of lids to can with your mason
Yeah.
jars.
do you know you have to
we
boil
gotta
your
make
lids?
Right.
We got to make
Gotta
canning
soften up
cool
all-
again. That's what we got to make canning cool
Yeah.
again.
And every
Let's
time
get a
you
shirt
go,
made.
every time you go to Tractor Supply or you go to the Dollar General store, whatever store it is,
Grab some jars.
Pick up
Grab-
a flat.
grab a thing of cans and just set them aside. And even if you collect, 5 of them, 10 cases of them
I
and
use them
whatnot,
for other things.
before
Because
you
if
get around to
wait till
doing
spring
it.
or summer, they're gone and you can't get them. And especially the lids and
Absolutely.
the rings too. Like the lids and the rings, because if you got the jars and you can reuse the jars for years, or that's what we did.
Oh, absolutely.
Good God, I wish I had all the jars that my grandma saved. But we would have issues finding, because you can reuse rings too, but you'd have to use a new lid every time. We would have issues finding lids. So if you get jars, but make sure you get lids and rings too.
Lids and rings.
Lids and rings.
Let's do that. That'd
Lids
be
and
fun.
rings.
I have
Get
some
together
jars.
and do it
I've always
as,
been
I have some
as
interested
jars in the garage.
I've always been interested in canning meat.
Yeah.
It's always scared me, but
Yeah.
everybody said it's fine.
I mean, you can't live on jelly.
No, but
Gotta
I
have
could I could live on canned meat. It's like Spam or Vienna sausages.
Well,
Oh,
yeah, we should do that.
live on
We
Spam.
should plant a garden.
Oh.
And then we
you don't
can
need to
stuff.
plant a garden. Just we'll can some meat. We'll kill.
Let's start off
Animals.
small. We'll start off
Well,
small.
canning meat is
We'll
I
kill-
killed a
we'll
pie
kill-
on
harder
my
than
way to
like.
work
We'll
today.
kill
I
some
felt bad
free.
about
We'll
that.
kill some free animals summer, and then we'll can that
Okay.
first.
All right, I'll let you
Can
go.
some
You guys can
raccoons.
handle it then.
Raccoons, groundhogs, and rabbits.
You
And
guys-
you forgot possum.
You guys sound like you got it.
Ugh.
I've eaten possum.
I've eaten
a couple
possum.
times.
It's
We
not
need to
hateful.
go up to the
Better
Oh,
than being
it was actually
hungry.
pretty good.
we need to go up to that store where we buy our cow from. They have like a lot of the really nice big canners for sale up there.
You're a big canner.
Ooh, Burn City. Powder good.
Smoked.
Dang.
I like that. Let's do
I
some
agree with
canners.
Jeff. Spam is good. everybody's like, "Oh my God,
It's
spam is
okay.
so gross."
It's all right.
not
I mean, if,
terrible.
if that's all you have to eat and you want to eat ground up
Oh,
pig
no.
snouts,
I'll
Listen,
eat. I'll eat
I
some
grew up
fried
on some
spam.
fried spam and some fried bologna.
I'll eat ground up
Even grilled spam is pretty
I
good.
never knew.
Here we
I
go,
never knew
another-
how many.
Here we go.
We're all going to be
varieties
shocked
of
by this, by the way.
spam
We're all going to be
there were.
shocked
Well,
that
there
you didn't know
wasn't when I was
something.
growing up. It was just spam and spam light. There were two.
Because Jay
Now
went to the
there's
deli
15.
and got thin sliced ham, thin sliced Virginia
gotta get
ham,
boar-
or
no,
thin sliced boar's head. Excuse me, boar's head. Let me get a pound of boar's head ham. Let me get a pound of turkey.
One day, his brother brought a ham home, and he's like, "Oh, you can't slice
Whoa,
that. You're
whoa,
not- are you a certified dietitian?
Ooh, which brings up the point.
Slice
This is
that?
not a delicatessen.
Jeff, do you have a meat like a deli meat slicer? I was looking at buying one the other day.
I do not have one of those.
Don't cheap out
we
summer.
we had talked about one, and then Sherry said you'll probably just cut your fingers off. So
That's a fair point.
You got
You're gonna
nine.
shoot
You
your
got
eye
9
out.
other ones.
You
Yeah,
got to make sure
and
you get
it would
trained
just
by a
be-
certified delicatessen.
Well,
like
because
this.
it's so much cheaper to buy like a whole turkey breast versus or a whole ham instead of buying the lunch meat now. And one of our boys just loves like lunch meat sandwiches. And I actually have a whole ham and a whole turkey breast sitting up there that needs slicing. I was like, I can obviously slice it myself, but it'd be so much cooler if I had a.
With a
That'd be
knife.
freaking.
Deli
I would
slicer.
feel very. I don't
Take
know.
it to,
I would enjoy it.
You know what you should do? Take it to Subway. See if they'll slice it for you.
No.
Jeez.
Oh my god.
They
Take it to
slice fresh
Jared.
meat.
well, a lot of grocery stores will slice it for you, but if you're gonna freeze dry it
Well, I
or
bought it at
can it or
Costco,
anything,
so-
Well, you
it's
got the
usually in
money. Summer ball
cubes.
out.
Well, apparently Gary's already buying a camper, and what else was he buying?
Oh, Can-Am Defender Limited.
Oh, and a Generac. Yeah.
So you're like $100,000. So
The
Well, we
Generac.
can't, we
might as well
can't buy
throw
the
in the
$300
slicer.
slicer now.
Well, first of all,
Oh,
you're
go
not
on,
buying
go
no
on.
300. It's
Summer,
about
go from there.
$800.
Yeah.
No,
I was
I
gonna
was
say.
reading. I was looking at ones on
no,
Amazon.
no.
No, I was.
Jeff had a good point going
Never
on. You
mind.
cut him off.
Whatever.
Sorry, Jeff.
That won't cut a
They
potato.
cut me off too. I can't even get a word in edgewise.
Go ahead, Jeff.
So here's one of the other things to think about. We were talking about prepping and everything else for families and your kids and your medicines and everything else. Don't forget your pets.
Eh.
If everything's shut down and the supply chains don't work and your grocery stores don't get anything in, are you going to feed your pets the food that's made for your family? Or are you going to find something, or are you going to cook your pets? I mean, some people.
That's what I'm more with Gary on just cook the pets.
You're gonna cook-
That's free meat.
But a lot of people forget. For us, it's easy because we think about the livestock. So if something, I got to continue to feed the livestock. Even you go in the wintertime and you don't have pastures they can graze on, you got to have hay on hand, or you got to have grain on hand, or whatever you're feeding them. But for those people that maybe live in a subdivision or in town or whatnot, if everything were to shut down, how are you going to feed your pets? How are you going to provide for them as well, which is just as important for most people. And having a dog's a great early warning device and everything else. Man, my dogs let us know when anybody's on the property. So,
Yep.
No,
a lot of
Yeah,
times
the
they
dog's
get
getting fed. The cat can feed himself.
Yeah,
Yeah.
cat,
You're-
cat,
well, you're
cat can
catching
go
it.
catch mice and stuff.
Yeah, the cat will get it. I got an outdoor cat, and he's a serial killer. He just
There's blood stains
Mauls, it
in the
just-
garage from that cat.
I mean, I think he's a little sadistic. Actually, I think he just like rips body parts off of them.
Takes
and
after his
just
dad.
lets them die slowly. Right. Yeah,
That's my barn cat.
Yep.
They have a job keeping the mice out of the barn.
Indeed. Well, let's go through here. Anybody got any final questions?
I did see where Brittany was asking if there was a known remedy for copperhead mites.
Yeah, there's a story
Oh,
behind
okay. I should have known.
Oh, it wasn't a
mind.
serious question.
It probably was not.
that. Since I was on the show tonight, somebody had to come to my house and kill a copperhead.
Yeah.
That was in my driveway.
Oh.
I'll leave
Well,
them alone.
yeah, so
Did Brittany kill the copperhead?
Brittany can't even spell copperhead, much less
She
kill.
did. Brittany, if you're watching.
Autocorrect.
It was autocorrect.
Yeah, 100%.
Copperheads ain't that bad. Leave them alone.
No, that's
So Matt was on copperhead.
no,
duty.
Matt's not working. So
Used
it
to
was
catch
old. It
copperheads
was
in
old
Texas.
Johnny B. Supposedly came up. That's what the text from
Gotcha.
my better half said.
There-
She goes, "Johnny B saved our family."
First of all, I want to congratulate Jason's sponsor. Go ahead and throw up Jason's sponsor down there. MOA scopes are good for starting fires. I like that, number one. Number two,
I like that he put
most
that-
importantly,
his profile picture.
I love that his profile picture has our sticker there.
He put that
MOA
up just for
scopes.
Jeff
Is
earlier.
that
I
your
know.
sticker?
He
Or
did
is
that for
or
Jeff.
Is that the patch?
I don't know if that looks like a sticker. It looks
it
flat.
does.
Yeah.
The patch is lit.
Yeah.
It's legit.
Have
Yep.
we shown the patch on here?
I don't know if we show the
I don't
patches
know.
on here.
It's in my side by side though. You know what it does at night?
Folks, if you haven't seen these sweet patches, number one,
They're the biggest of today's. Look
they're
at that thing.
freaking sweet.
3D.
3D, glow in the dark.
All the white glows in the dark. It's freaking sweet.
And for those of you that are
Yeah, so they go in your headliner. So you can just go right on your headliner. It's right there. You can always see it.
For
Put it
those-
on your range bag,
Yep.
backpack.
And for those of you that are Patreon members, if you are a team sergeant or higher, make sure that you send a message in Patreon for just put in your address and stuff. We're going to send you out one of the value packs of those. And thank you for supporting us. We really appreciate that. And folks, again, make sure you go through all our videos, like, subscribe, comment. Make sure you're going over to Rumble. As soon as we get those numbers up over on Rumble, we're definitely going to be bouncing out of YouTube. Oh, I almost forgot. Hey, throw up that article. This will be the last little feel good article
this
thing.
is feel good.
Not really. Make the full screen that
I
thing.
got solo that.
I saw
All right.
this.
So basically, this gentleman called this journalist a fat lesbian. And the crazy thing about this, so he gets 60 days in jail. He's
Jay, don't
fined.
tell on me.
He's fine. And the crazy thing about this is he did this in a YouTube video over 2 years ago. So this is in Switzerland. Really, what we need to pay attention to is down there
I
and
can understand this now.
down there, the last sentence. The last sentence is in 2020, Swiss voters approved a measure that made it illegal to discriminate against people on the basis of sexual orientation. He did not in any way discriminate, but that's how these things get started. And then you got activist judges and things like that that reinterpret law. I don't know what Switzerland law says. Maybe they have something in there.
They spelled speech wrong, so
Specifically, maybe they have something in there that specifically says something about,
Well, have you ever heard the chef on the Muppets speak? I mean, they don't even know what they're talking about.
anyways.
Phenomenon.
Jay, I do love the Muppets, but I was the wrong time and place.
Time is everything, Jay. Time is everything.
I was the wrong place.
So again, folks, and this stuff, and the crazy thing is this stuff is coming to America faster than
Eddie
you
Murphy
think.
did.
Yeah, absolutely. Him and Arsenio Hall. But yeah, so these are the things, and it's always these laws like this. They get passed. That sounds great. Nobody here wants someone to be discriminated against. Again, I'm
Except
as
for redheads.
libertarian as I can possibly be. If you want to go do whatever you want to do, fine, go do that over there. Don't
they
don't
weren't
force it
stopped
upon
from-
me.
Thanks.
But they weren't stopped from like getting a job or getting
No,
a
they weren't-
loan
they weren't
or that-
discriminated
That's
against.
Some dude said
discrimination.
something on a YouTube video.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey Jay, quit being a fat lesbian.
Dang it.
Now you're going to jail, Chris.
There it goes.
Now you're going to jail.
From 2 years from now, not right now.
No,
2
we're
years.
not.
That's
2 years
right.
from now.
When Jay gets upset about it.
I gotta be my
After our YouTube
plumber
channel is
Folks,
canceled.
We gotta
Damn it, Jay.
we gotta guard our rights when it comes to freedom of speech, and we definitely need to get away from
This is unreal.
supporting companies like YouTube and Google and all these other ones that are censoring one side of any debate.
Here's a
It's
question.
just the fact of the matter.
So obviously, freedom of speech is one of the natural God-given rights, but
First Amendment.
First Amendment.
what did Switzerland have in place before 2020 when the voters voted?
Who knows?
I thought you
don't
said
know.
before.
Were,
420.
were there any? Is there
I
any
don't.
type of?
I don't know that they have.
List
like
of rights or?
Canada doesn't have freedom of speech as a constitutional right. And I doubt Switzerland does either.
I'm not even saying that it was a constitutional right, but was there
Jay,
any,
can you
like,
ban
Any
Spook?
sort of
I don't like
protection.
him
any
anymore.
sort of protection?
I don't know.
reported.
I don't know.
Ban Spook, please.
The Swiss make good hot chocolate. That's all I really know.
Please ban Spook.
And they make
They
a,
do make some badass hot
they make a,
Do they?
They make a very handy knife.
Are they the Ghirardelli?
And they guard the
It's
boat.
very handy.
It's got a spoon and a spork on
Look at that.
Listen, we got
And a magnifying glass. You can start a little
And a
fire and burn
fingernail,
ants.
fingernail
we
file
actually
and a
had
toothpick.
we actually had a customer stopped by that was from Switzerland, and he brought the boys.
He used to come train with us.
Yeah,
regularly.
he brought the boys each a red Swiss Army
Legit.
knife from the original factory with their names engraved on them.
Yep.
It was pretty cool.
Now that's cool.
It
Yeah.
is cool. It is
It's
cool.
cool.
Well, folks, with all that said, I think we're going to call it a knife. Jeff, man, always great talking to you. Can't wait to meet you at the end of the month. It's
I
going to be a
know.
good time.
Is he coming up or are you
He's
going
coming
down?
up.
No,
No, he's
he's
coming
coming
up.
up.
He's coming up to the Free States?
Yep. Matter of fact, he just sent
lives
me,
in
he just
Florida.
sent me
I know he does, but he's coming up to the Free States.
He just sent me a nice
Gift.
come stay with us gift
You're pointing
in a
at
Lowe's box.
I thought you were
There's a
pointing
Lowe's-
at Jay's
There's a
liquor
Lowe's
bottle over
box
there.
behind Jay.
The one that says large.
Oh, it's in a mystery box.
Yeah.
It's a mystery
I'm
court.
telling you, Jeff, you're missing out.
a mystery court.
Make some mystery buckets there.
And sell them. You can throw $100 on them and just just throw some random ass.
It'll be
shit in
such
there.
it'll be the best surprise during apocalypse. Right? You'll be like, oh, this sucks. Let's open a mystery bucket. Yay! Right?
Oh, I got a box of Uno cards.
Skip
Fuck
two.
me.
Yeah.
Shit.
Yeah, this
Yeah.
Ovaltine is full of shit, man.
Drink
No,
your Ovaltine?
Just to wrap up, I agree with MCG Spook here. Jeff was definitely the highlight, and every time
Yeah.
we talk to Jeff or have Jeff on, I'm like, Summer, you need to get off your lazy butt and get some stuff
He's
done.
I tell you that every day.
He's Jeff, you're way ahead of us.
You're way ahead,
as
Jeff.
us as a conglomerate, and I say us.
Yes.
Way ahead.
You're very inspiring.
Yeah. Anyways, folks, again, we appreciate all of you guys that show up every Wednesday here. Appreciate the support. Yeah, if you guys ever have any topic ideas, throw them down below. Shoot us an email. Throw them in a YouTube comment, something like that. But we do have. Oh, by the way, folks, I finished all the filming. I am now 3/4 of the way through the editing on the SIG 10K and 6K. You're gonna find those results pretty interesting to say the least.
By the way,
it'll be a good
I
video.
had two people text me, said they saw you at the top of the mountain.
I'm sure
doing
they
that.
I was
Said,
out there.
Gary's up there shooting his video.
Famous. Famous.
Yeah,
He is.
Yeah, I was
It's
redneck
tough,
famous.
It's tough to miss this at the top,
It-
of, at the,
it
top of
is.
the mountain at Jared Sound.
I didn't even know he was up there, and I get to the top of the mountain and look over like, oh, there's Gary.
Two people. Hey, Gary's doing his new video.
at a four-way stop at the top of the mountain.
It was Luke and Lonnie. He's like, hey, Gary's up there.
Yep, I should have stopped by. Come get in the video.
They didn't want to
I
get in
did.
the video.
I was actually there was a barbecue truck there, and there was a kid helping the guy out, and I was like, oh, when they drove up, they were all looking at me sideways. So
I'm
I was like, hey man, I was like, I'm doing a video testing these things out. And they're like, oh, that's cool, and I was trying to. So I walked over there and I talked to the kid. I'm like, hey, you want to come over here and check these out? He's like, yeah, he's a little awkward and kind of weird. And what I was
He's
gonna
watching
do,
this, he's like, "You just
what
called
I
me
was
weird."
gonna do was like, oh hey, which one do you think? I was like, yeah, I'll throw you in the video. Like the first thing he does, he goes up and grabs one of them, puts his thumbs right on the lenses. I'm like, okay, well, tell me how that looks. I turned off the video.
As he just ate a piece of barbecued beef.
Yeah. I was like, oh, okay, this ain't gonna go how I think it goes. You
Anyway.
sir are not a good candidate.
Anyway.
All right, folks. Thank you guys. Thank you, Jeff. Hang tight, Jeff. We'll talk to you in just a second.
man.
Anyways, folks, we always appreciate you. But until next time, stay armed, stay ready, get that cursor over to the end stream. In what?
Like,
that's
like
right. There we
subscribe,
go.
share, baby.
Like, subscribe, share, all the good stuff. Go check out our Patreon. We appreciate the support there. Buy stuff from our store. Go check out our upcoming training schedule. Make sure you come to a class.
And come visit our store.
But come see us live
Solid
at the
point.
store. Until next time, stay armed, stay ready. We'll talk to you soon.